Hey, what's going on everyone over at Gamers Buffet? This is Sarge here. I'm showing you some exclusive footage of a clan match that I had the other night. This was against 5th Marine. Now, we've played these guys numerous times. This is probably our 5th time playing against these guys in a competition match. Going to be going over a little bit of what competitive play is about. First thing I want to do is show you what our plan is, and that is basically holding 2 objectives at all times. Now, this is Leguna Alta Conquest. We want to hold A and C. That's our primary objective. And as you notice, the arrows there kind of had a fan out. That's what I want my players to do. Is when we're playing, when we first start off, we fan out and hold up as much ground as we can. Basically, we want to get an idea of seeing an entire playing field. That way, when we communicate, we know exactly where the enemy is at all times. Now, if you were watching my introduction video, I mentioned about me not recording footage while I do matches, and the reason behind that was that my frames per second was a major deal when playing, and you kind of want to have the advantage on stage, and you get the best performance when you have a high frame per second. That's primarily the reason why I also play on low graphic settings, even though I have a PC that can run it on high. So yeah, I just want you guys to keep that in mind, that I don't record as often when I'm playing games as far as competitively goes, but in this case I made the exception only because this is more of a friendly league. There's not really any prizes. It's just kind of like something that you can just practice to. So with that said, competitively, I mean, I want to say that gaming in Bad Company 2 is different. I mean, obviously you're playing against players who practice together regularly as a team, and so the competition, or at least the I want to say the players are a lot more coordinated as far as teamwork goes. They respond quicker, whereas if you're in a pub match, you're set up with a bunch of people who really don't know what's going on as far as teamwork goes, and it's kind of like everyone does their own thing. But in this case, it's all about teamwork. You're all about communicating, saying the right things, having the right commands, issuing out the right orders. Everything from shooting your weapon to throwing a grenade. It's all a big. There's always a big reason for it, and so competitively, I would say that it's a lot more challenging. When I'm playing pub games, obviously it's just for fun, but in this case, it's more setting yourself a standard and trying to reach that standard. And so teams like Rival or Legacy or Dynamic, which are primarily the top teams, best teams in Northern America, those are kind of like the teams you want to be like. And you only get there when you're playing together with your same squad or the same amount of players that you usually play with, and you work together and grow together as a team. And so in this case, competitively, you can see that we kind of have a strategy going on. It's really, right now, it's kind of, you have to be very versatile, meaning that if the enemy starts flanking in one direction, you can either try to hold up a block there, or you have to flank the other direction and try to take a flag that they're not really paying attention to. So as you see here, they kind of stormed in A and took the barn by surprise, and that kind of forced us back into C. So now what we're doing is we're flanking the B and trying to take this objective without them knowing. And as you see, as the flag is blinking there, it's going to alert them, so we're going to try to be on our guard and hold up a defense here for a minute, kind of pick off a couple guys there. And our primary goal in Conquest games is to hold 2 flags at all times. We want to try to drain the enemy of their tickets. That's kind of the strategy for pretty much all teams when you're playing on Conquest. I would say most competitive leagues deal with Conquest. It's kind of like been the primary format for competitions all over as far as Battlefield has been out. And I think the only rush league they have is Squad Rush, which is the 4v4. And I'm not sure if there's a league out there that does any higher, but primarily, if you're playing competitively, it's Conquest. And so in this case, we got lined up with these guys, and it's kind of like a ladder system. You play, so many teams, and the more teams you beat, the higher you get onto that ladder. when there are prizes involved, it usually incorporates a bracket system, which is basically set up in the sense that once you lose, you are eliminated from that bracket, and then the top teams that continuously win end up in a final match, and the person or the team that wins that match ends up getting the prize. So that's kind of like the aim for these smaller leagues, which are like ladders, or the ladders, at least in general. It's just to practice and get yourself warmed up for when something big comes out and a prize is involved. That way you're ready and you kind of know what your competition is like. So in ladder in general, you're gonna have a lot of really good teams. But I know when Bad Company 2 first came out, some of the best teams were playing, and then they kind of went off and fell apart due to the fact that Bad Company was struggling with many of their server-side issues and the hit registration. So yeah, a lot of the best teams don't really play anymore. Whereas when the game first came out, they were pretty much in everything. So the only time I ever do, or at least we do see some of the top teams, is when there's our prizes involved. And so yeah, in this case, what we're doing is what we're looking at here is just kind of want to go over what I'm doing, sitting back here at the enemy on cap. We kind of have a system where what you want to do is have all your guys spread out, as if you notice on the map there. And I'm kind of keeping an eye on the enemy on cap. I kind of noticed him right there, just coming out from his spawn point. And it's just going to alert me so that I have more of a map awareness for my team. That way I know where the enemies are at all times, and we kind of communicate this so that you see him, he takes me out right there, but I've already communicated to my guys that he's coming out from his spawn point, so that gives them an idea where he's at. And as you see right there, we have one of my buddies, he already takes the guy out before he can even get to the objective. So that's kind of like the case here. You really don't go as a Rambo soldier. When you're playing competitively, you have to do your part as a team member, whether it's just holding off at one point and staying there for periods of time, just to watch and make sure that nobody's flanking that direction, because eyes are better than trying to kill massive amounts of people. You can get huge KDs in this game, and you still lose. You can still lose. Bleeding out enemy teams from their tickets by controlling flags is the most important thing when you're playing competitively. Doesn't matter how many kills you get, doesn't matter what your score per minute is, what your KD is, what stats you have at the end of the match. You want to be able to pull off the win, and it has always been the most effective by controlling points and playing really well together as a team. So you see me there again watching the uncap. That's kind of like the job that I'm going to be doing right now, for now at least. I want to give my guys the chance to hold up the perimeters over at B, and then I kind of watch the uncap. So he takes me out there, but at least we get an idea of where he's at, and so we can actually hold our points and then go back to where we need to set up our perimeters. So the game actually is about to end. This is our first round. We're in pretty good shape. I mean, against 5th Marine, we've done pretty well in general, and so I know these guys have worked really hard, and they have improved a lot since when we first started playing these guys. So yeah, definitely good match. And I think the round is about to end right now. Yeah, that's it. So that's the first round. This is basically the competitive league ends when it's the best out of 3. You see there we have 46 points left over, and 5th Marine has 0. And so once we go into our next round, it's kind of it switches sides. So now we're on spawning as the Russians, and we're going to be basically incorporating the same idea, which is holding 2 flags, but on this side it's going to be different. We're going to be rushing to A first, and then having one of our guys go to B, and then from A we're going to be trying to fan out and set up again perimeters. Now in some cases the enemy may not go the route you expect them to go, and you'll kind of see that here. The 5th Marine kind of changes up the game plan a little bit. As we assume that they're going to be trying to get A, we notice that it's kind of clear, and so there's nobody here actually, so it kind of catches us by surprise. We assume that there's going to be a firefight at A, specifically speaking because A is a huge spot. That's kind of like a hot zone. But I kind of took a glance there in the back, and noticed the whole team was actually, they were pushing the B. So they went for C and B, whereas we assumed they were going to go for C and A. And as they take B, it kind of opens up an opportunity for me to flank to C. Whereas normally I should have set up a perimeter, but in this case, I noticed we were going to be in trouble, so I made the brave move to flank to C and then have my guys spawn on me. So this is very important here, because you notice that all my guys in my squad are dead, and I noticed that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for them to spawn on me. That way we get enough people there, and then we take C by surprise. Obviously we weren't really stealthy enough. The enemy kind of knew we were there, but we have enough guys there to set up perimeters. And I actually make a mistake here. I was supposed to watch that door, but I ended up turning my back for just a second, and the enemy catches me by surprise. So that is a very crucial thing. You always want to be ready and make sure you have a backup plan just in case things don't follow through. You can always assume that your plan's going to work, and so you want to have to be able to fall back on something that you can use just in case, you know, something that you originally planned on doing doesn't come through. So in that case, try to take C by surprise, but they ended up flushing us all out. And I'm going to go ahead and make the attempt again, assuming that my enemy has all their attention on the front of C. I'm going to try to storm the backside here and kind of lone wolf it for a second, because I noticed that my guys are already storming B to try to take that back. But my goal here is to try to draw the enemy back towards from where they're headed. So I'm going to try to keep them busy while my guys are doing their job taking B back. And it's just, again, I'm kind of creating more of an alert system for them, trying to draw them all back to me, while it gives my guys the chance to take C back. So as you notice there, we took C, and then now we've already stormed and taken B as well. So we have all 3 points, which is a very, very very hard position for the enemy, because if we force them back into their own cap, it allows us to actually spawn camp them, which is legal in competitive play. You can actually spawn camp the enemy, so there are no rules against that. Obviously, if you can fire from your spawn camp, then you should be able to fire back. So in this case, we're going to try to set up a perimeter, but we notice that they're still storming in on B. In my case, I'm going to try to hold up a perimeter here, catch anybody who's going to leave their base. I noticed one guy there, and I'm going to try to pick him off. And you'll see in a minute here, it's just going to zoom past all this. I pick him off, but I just end up staying that whole position for a while my guys try to handle the guys at B. Here we kind of switch places. I change or exchange places with one of my teammates, Art of War. He's going to take up my spot, and then I'm going to head over to B because I know it's in trouble. Obviously, we're using kind of player abilities in this area, so that because I know Art of War, he's more of a camping type player. He knows how to set up really good perimeters and take out potential flanks, whereas I'm more of the grungy player. I kind of get in there and do all the dirty work. So that's how come we actually ended up switching positions. And so here you see me trying to go to work on these guys, but apparently I got caught off guard from the back. And so I'm going to spawn at A and then help out the guys there. And then from A, once we try to clear it out here, I'm going to set up a perimeter to watch B. Now, when you want to play with a team, you want to make sure it's the same players consistently. Only because the more you play with the same guys, the better you get to know them more, the better you understand their play style, and the less you have to, I want to say, communicate. Because in this case, because I've played with these guys a lot, I kind of understand their routes. I understand the moves or the kits they run. I understand the way they play. And so there's less communication and more focusing on the game. Only because I know how these guys work. I know they think like I do. They think exactly just the same. So we all have this coordination where you kind of know what to do in certain situations. And I expect my guys to perform a certain way, and they're able to perform that. And so it's when you're playing with the same players, you kind of grow together. You kind of read each other's moves. Well, so I know that my back is covered, and so in this case, I'm going to watch his back because he assumes, all right, Enigma's the up close kind of front guy. He's going to watch my back while I try to watch his. And so I catch that guy there, but as he tries to storm in, he gets caught off by surprise. So I'm going to jump down here and then pick that guy off. kind of almost did a team kill there. But yeah, if player familiarity is something you want to get used to. I'm not even sure if that's a word, familiarity, but what I'm basically trying to say is just getting used to the guys that you are playing with. You want to be able to understand their tactics, and it's kind of hard if you're playing against or with new people every single time, because you kind of have to re-strategize and you know, get used to playing with that person. It's just it makes it harder when you're playing competitively to constantly stay on a winning side, is because the more you get to play with your players, the better you understand them, and the better you pull off you know, your tactics. All the plans that you pull off, you can pull it off fluently, because the players you play with, they already know exactly what you have in store. So I'm actually going to go ahead and finish up here and then let you guys enjoy the last couple minutes of this game. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this clan match. I'm going to try to see if I can get some more up. I know it's very rare for me to do this. I don't do this often. And so when I do, though, I'll definitely post up some match games. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the game.
Guy just spawned. Got one. There was one by the stairwell I see on the outside.
Got two of them, man. Get up on that hill.
Enemy infantry!
They're on the outside. There's three outside now. FC.
One coming from their spawn, Daniel. I'll point him out. Never mind, you got him.
Whoa, there's
got one coming towards
in
two.
between teams.
Yeah, they're coming road from their spawn. There's two of them over there, Daniel. There you go.
Objective has been secured.
We got one coming out of their spawn towards C. And two coming road to A.
I got A. They're in this right dumpster crossing the road right now going to A. There's one by that silver dumpster.
No tickets.
Right
You got him.
I gotta figure out what's wrong with my shit. My ping's 300. Yeah, that's terrible.
Somebody else on your network.
Good job, guys.